Dear students, we are going to discuss on the topic types of adsorption isotherms. You are aware of the concept adsorption isotherm. Adsorption isotherm is a graph obtained by plotting the amount of adsorption against pressure at constant temperature. So this adsorption isotherm helps us to know the amount adsorbed at various pressure. Possibly there are various types of adsorption isotherms. So that depends on the nature of adsorbent and adsorbate, and also on the factors like pressure and temperature. So by varying the pressure and the nature of adsorbent and adsorbate at constant temperature, we derived a set of graphs called adsorption isotherm. So hereby I have drawn you some of the adsorption isotherm graphs. So there are 5 types of adsorption isotherms available. The first one, type 1, is where the amount adsorbed is studied against various pressure. The adsorption keeps on increasing and then reaches a saturation at constant pressure P0. Okay, so the P0 is nothing but saturation pressure at which there is no further increase in the adsorption. There is no further increase in the amount of adsorption. Okay, or in some cases, at saturation pressure, there will be a condensation of adsorbate molecule on the fine or minute holes of adsorbent. Okay, so in this case, the adsorption increases with the increase in pressure and reaches a saturation at particular pressure, and beyond which there won't be any increase in the amount adsorbed. Okay, so this is the case of adsorption of nitrogen on charcoal at about minus 180 degree centigrade. Okay, so this adsorption isotherm looks very much similar to Longmuir's adsorption isotherm. Okay, the type 2 and type 3, okay, is about a multi-layer of adsorption. Type 1 is about a monolayer of adsorption. Type 2 and 3 are about a multi-layer of adsorption. Okay, whereas you can see here, the amount adsorbed increases with the increase in pressure, reaches to be a saturation, and then there is a further increase. Okay, so the amount adsorbed increases after certain value and reaches further. Okay, so up to this you can find the monomolecular of adsorption takes place, and beyond this saturation, beyond this constant pressure amount adsorbed, there will be a further increase and reaches a saturation pressure P0. Okay, so adsorption type 3 is where the adsorption keeps on increasing without attaining a constant value. The adsorption keeps on increasing right from the beginning, okay, until the saturation pressure P0. So in both the cases, there are a multi-layer of adsorption taking place. The type 2, example type 2 is adsorption of nitrogen or platinum or iron at about minus 195 degrees centigrade. Okay, so type 3 is about adsorption of bromine on silica gel at about 80 degrees centigrade. Okay, so type 1 is about a monomolecular layer, type 2 and 3 are about a multimolecular layer of adsorption at various adsorbate and adsorbent at different temperature which are kept constant. And type 4 and 5, okay, is different from type 2 and 3. In type 4 and 5, apart from the multilayer of adsorption, there is a capillary condensation of adsorbate taking place. Okay, what is capillary condensation of adsorbate? So at a high pressure, the adsorbate molecule, they come closer together. By van der Waals force of attraction, and they get condensed. The vapors or gases gets condensed and then trapped inside the fine capillaries of the adsorbent, or they get trapped in the fine holes of the first layer, monomolecular layer. Okay, so thereby the liquid gets condensed, the vapor gets condensed into liquid. Okay, so this phenomena we call as a capillary condensation of adsorbate. Okay, so in the type 4, adsorption of benzene on silica gel at about at about 150 degrees centigrade. So here you will find the adsorption increases, reaches a saturation, and then with the further increase of pressure, the second layer of adsorption starts, and that remains a constant at certain pressure called saturation pressure P0. Okay, and type 5 is adsorption of water vapor on carbon at 100 degrees centigrade. So here this is more or less similar to type 3, where the adsorption increases, keeps on increases, then reaches a saturation. At pressure P0. Okay. So in the 5 types of adsorption, from the isotherm graphs, adsorption isotherm graphs, we will be able to ascertain whether the adsorption is monomolecular layer or multimolecular layer of adsorption, or adsorption with a capillary condensation. This can be arrived from the adsorption isotherm graphs. I hope you understood what are the different types of adsorption isotherm. Let us continue with the next topic. Dear students, this is the next topic, bed theory of adsorption of multilayer. So the Langmuir's theory of adsorption is restricted to monomolecular layer of adsorption only, and moreover the limitations of Langmuir's theory is it is not valid at a high pressure. Langmuir's theory is obeyed only at a low pressure, and Langmuir's theory is based on the assumption that only the surface of adsorbent is very smooth or homogeneous by nature. Naturally, there is no surface which is 100% smooth or homogeneous in nature. However fine the surface is, if you look into a microscope, scanning electron microscope or transmission electron microscope, you will find lots of ups and downs even at the smooth surfaces. So the Langmuir's theory is not 100% perfect based on the assumptions. So the other theory has evolved by 3 scientists called Brunner, Emmett and Teller. B stands for Brunner, Emmett and Teller. So after the name of the initials of 3 scientists, Brunner, E for Emmett and T for Teller, this theory has been named as bed theory of multilayer of adsorption. This was proposed in the year 1938 by these 3 scientists. Okay, so here, like Langmuir's theory, we make certain assumptions here as well. So like the first assumption is the surface of the molecule is uniform and homogeneous by nature. Number 2, the adsorbed molecules are independent of each other. The adsorption at one site do not affect the molecule which is present in the neighboring site. The molecule do not move around. They are kept constant or at a particular place. So, based on these assumptions, what the Langmuir has assumed, the three scientists Brunner, Emmett, and Teller derived an equation. Okay, so hereby we are not going for derivation part of this bit equation. We directly take up this equation since your syllabus is divide of this derivation. I directly take up the equation, bit equation, where you can see certain, I explained you certain the terms involved here. P is the pressure. P is the pressure on the gas, adsorbate gas. Or vapors. So P0, as you know, is the saturation pressure. P0 is the saturation pressure. We have V mono is the volume of monomolecular layer of adsorbate. C is the volume of the gas occupied in the monomolecular layer of adsorbate. Okay, and then there is another term called V total. Is the total volume of gas adsorbed. In the sense, the total volume of gas adsorbed in the multilayer. Okay. Then the other term left is C. C is a constant which is derived from this equation. C is exponential E1 minus EL by RT. R is the gas constant. T is the temperature which is kept constant for a particular absorption isotherm, where E1 is the heat released on which is a constant for particular adsorbate and adsorbent. EL, what is EL? EL is the energy of liquefaction of the gaseous molecule. EL is the liquefaction energy. So if you keep on increasing the pressure at certain saturation pressure, the gaseous molecule gets condensed to form a liquid. Okay. So with this terminologies, now let us see this bed equation. P by V total P0 minus P is equal to 1 by V mono into C plus C minus 1 by V mono into C, P by P0. So this equation looks more or less similar to an equation of a straight line. Okay, you can find this y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, and if you assume this on the y-axis and this at the x-axis, you can plot. Okay, by plotting this y and x-axis, you will get a straight line. Okay, so the intercept of the straight line, okay, the intercept of the straight line is 1 by V mono into C. Whereas the slope of the straight line M is nothing but C minus 1 by V mono minus into C multiplied by C. Okay. So this linearity between the P by P0 and P by Vt P0 minus P proves that the Bett equation is obeying, the multimolecular layer obeys the Bett equation, or you can say Bett equation is verified by this linearity. Okay. So, and also from the slope and intercept value you can calculate this V mono. So what is the V mono? V mono is the volume of the gas occupied by the monomolecular layer of adsorption. So you can calculate how much volume of layer is adsorbed on the monomolecular layer of the gas. Okay, and the surface area provided by the monomolecular layer of gas is the total volume of the monomolecular layer of gas, that is you can say this as N minus 1 is the surface area available for the second next level of gaseous molecule, that is the second layer or multimolecular layer. Similarly, the surface area provided by the layer N minus 2 is equal to the surface area provided by the first layer. Okay, so for every successive layer, the previous layer, the volume of the gas occupied in the previous layer gives you the surface area. Okay, so this Bett theory helps us to calculate the volume of the monomolecular layer of adsorption and also on the volume of multimolecular layer of adsorption. Okay, and Bett theory is verified based on the linearity we have obtained from this graph. So now let us refresh the applications of adsorption. You know, adsorption has been widely used in various industries and in domestic applications. The concept of adsorption is very much used in adsorption chromatography. Okay, you know, chromatography is an analytical technique which is used for separating the organic compounds or inorganic mixture. Suppose you have a mixture of different organic compounds, a mixture of alkaloids or a mixture of aromatic substances or a mixture of inorganic earthy material or metal ions or silicate, that can be separated with the help of chromatography. Okay, so in adsorption chromatography you have a substrate called adsorbate. Okay, adsorbent is commonly used, particularly in the case of column chromatography and in thin layer or a paper chromatography. Silica gel or alumina is used to pack the column or the TLC plates. The column packed with the alumina or silica gel helps to adsorb the compounds at a different rate. Say for example, in a column chromatography, the silica gel or alumina is packed in the column size. Okay, so this we can assume this as a adsorbent. Okay, so when this is first the mixture of the substance, first the mixture is poured inside the column, and then later it is number 2, the eluent. Eluent is nothing but a solvent used to separate the compounds. So when the eluent is passed, the mixture passes through the column and gets adsorbed at a different rate, so that the mixture gets separated in different column. This is based on the tendency of the substance adsorb. Okay, so the one which is adsorbed fast gets adsorbed in the first or the topmost. The one gets adsorbed slowly, passes to the next layer, and the one gets adsorbed very least, goes to the bottom. Okay, so likewise, by keep on eluting the column, you can separate the mixture of organic compound. Okay, where the principle used is mainly adsorption. Okay, and number 2, the very important application of adsorption is a heterogeneous catalysis. Okay, so we are going to study the catalysis in the next chapter, where you will be seeing how the rate of the catalysis is affected by the surface. Okay, so in a heterogeneous catalysis means where the catalyst and the reactants are in a different phase. Catalyst form a solid phase, the reactant forms a liquid or a gaseous phase. Okay, so in heterogeneous catalysis, the principle of adsorption is very much used. The reactant molecule sits at the surface of a catalyst, okay, and then they react together, develop a bond, and once the reaction is over, the product molecules are dissolved out of the surface. So both adsorption and desorption takes place during the course of heterogeneous catalysis. The principle of adsorption is very much used in the case of a heterogeneous catalysis. And number 3, adsorption is used in industries to develop a high vacuum. Development of high vacuum. Although vacuum is developed in any glass vessel or in any vessel by applying a high pressure, by removing the air or by removing the moisture inside the vessel by applying a vacuum pump, you cannot remove the vacuum or moisture to 100%. However much you try, there will be a little trace of impurities which will be available inside the vacuum. So particularly if you go to a semiconductor industry, you need to have a moisture free setup, okay, for making the chips or a semiconductor materials, or to test the performance of the semiconductor material. So in those cases, the removal of moisture to 100% is very much needed. Apart from applying a high vacuum pressure, you need to use certain adsorbents like a silica gel or alumina or activated carbon, and that helps to trap away the remaining traces of moisture present inside the vacuum chamber. So by the way, you can develop a high high vacuum chambers for performing some specific experiments. Okay, and number 3, removal of moisture. Number 4 is the removing moisture, and this can be this is now you can see this even in packaging industries. Whenever you find or purchase some electronic goods, you will find a small packet of silica gel kept inside the closed packet or container. So that is to trap away the moisture present in the packets. So even if the packet is airtight, the moisture inside the packet spoils the electronic goods sometimes. So therefore, silica packets are kept inside the packaging containers. And the next one is removing of color. Or odor. Okay, so the principle of adsorption is helpful to remove the color of a particular substance. For example, decolorization of sugar. Canned sugar is colored in the nature, but the sugar available in the market is very clean, white and crystal clear. So this is done by decolorization, by applying certain chemicals like phosphoric acid and along with a decolorizing agent. So naturally activated charcoal is a very good environmentally friendly and sustainable decolorizing agent or adsorbent. So when you heat up those substances along with the adsorbent takes away the colored material. Okay, so by the way, you can decolorize the substances. And similarly, some adsorbents also remove the odor in the atmosphere. So instead of using a chemical odonil in the laboratories, you can also use the activated carbon, finely powdered dried carbon, so that will remove the odor. Okay, so those chemical odorizers, they will spread the vapor, chemical vapor inside the laboratories and cause you some better smell. But at the same time, the bird smell is not removed or eliminated. But this way of utilizing activated carbon will remove the bad odors from the bathrooms and laboratories. So, and adsorption is the principle of adsorption is very much used in the medicinal field for detoxicating the heavy metals or toxic impurities which are present in the intestine. So by taking up some activated carbon liquids or activated carbon biscuits, the toxicants present in the intestines gets removed. Okay, what the activated carbon does is it absorbs the toxic impurities. So by the way, the undiagnosed stomach pains can be solved by this simple technique. Okay, adsorption is very much used in gas mask. In the industries, which are used in the industries and at a heavy traffic, where in the cities you will find a lot of exposure to toxic pollutants or chemicals. So the gas mask will filter away. They will filter away the toxic gases like carbon monoxide, dioxide, sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides. They get trapped in the gas mask, surface of the gas mask, where effective adsorbents are kept. Okay, so and adsorption, the principle of adsorption is used in the surface area calculation. Surface area can be calculated for the liquid surface. You can calculate even the surface of a pond or a lake. Okay, or the oil dispersed in the pond or a lake can be calculated. And surface area calculation is very much helpful in porous material. Okay, microporous or a nanoporous material where surface calculation is very difficult even through advanced experimentation technique or by using sophisticated instruments. Nanoporous materials find very minute force whose surface area can be calculated using the principle of adsorption. Okay, so I hope you have thoroughly gone through the different aspects of adsorption briefly. So if you have any questions, doubts, you can post it in the comment box. You are welcome. With this, we close this chapter and let us pass on to the next chapter in the next class. Thank you very much.